Hey kids, good morning. Mark Miller here. Fred's with me. Fred, say hi, buddy. There you go. Whoops. Let me not sever your arm from your body. Today we're going to look at, we're going to do what we tried to do yesterday. Yesterday we got slightly sidetracked. Already? I'm telling you, I'm going to unleash these moves on the dance floor, and the dance floor will never be the same. Mr. Nuts Guy says, I always like watching Mark try to dance during Codebase Alpha's fanfare. Really? Really? Yeah, the CBA dance. Those are my CBA moves right there. I'm going to take those to the dance floor. It's going to change the world. Welcome, Codebase Alpha. Welcome. Today I'm going to do what I was trying to do yesterday. Yesterday we ended up doing a very cool thing. We ended up dynamically throttling the overlay layers to different frame rates based on what was happening. So if we were to roll the dice, let's go. I think I can probably bring this up and execute this using just buttons on my Stream Deck here. So if I were to like pull out Fred's great axe here, let's switch back over to this our scene where we see Fred here. I pull out Fred's great axe. There we go. That worked. Give him advantage and roll the dice. We should see these change right up here. Here comes the, did I do it? There's the die roll. And now notice the front overlay drops and the back overlay drop to 5 frames per second each. Getting a phone call here. Could be the President of the United States asking for advice on how to solve these problems. Look at that critical hit right there. Good job, Fred. Really good job, buddy. Roy, you with us, buddy? I can't hear you.
I'm here, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. You're awesome, man. So the time change has happened. We're now starting at about the same time. All right. I'll bring you in a little earlier. We'll sound more professional. No, it's better than that. It's Rory. Yeah, Rory, you feeling better still? Better than yesterday?
I am feeling better literally with every passing hour at this stage.
That is so good.
Very good.
So good. I'm so glad to hear that. I want to make sure, I'm trying to figure out why you seem a little low volume to me. How's Roy's volume, Codebase Alpha? Is he good? Let us know.
Testing. Can anybody hear me? Is it a decent level of volume?
Yeah, I'm not sure why it is different. Why is it different? I've got like a whole deck of things here. Excel 809 is Dragon Humpers tonight. Yes, it is Excel 809. Excel was watching us. Excuse me. Oh no. I know who that guy is. Look at those white fluffy clouds. Who's flying in? It's Jetson. Jetson's flying in. Jetson, welcome. Yeah, Rory is quiet. Okay, let's figure that out.
Am I? Okay.
I've got this that goes to my headphones. This goes to Skype. I have actually a volume adjust here, but that doesn't feel so good to me. Hold on. There might be another option here. I've got like actually 9 different ways to control volume here. That one's maxed. Hold on. Let's go into Skype. I want to see what my Skype settings are before I touch anything. Skype settings. Greg's out there. Hey, Greg. Glad you're with us. What time and time zone? Oh, okay. Let me tell you that. It's going to be, I can give you 2 times right now at the top of my head. It's going to be at 6 p.m. Pacific time and at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So that's Dragon Humpers right there. At
Last
Twitch.
time I checked, that was about 2 a.m. GMT, something like
Yeah,
that.
that might be it. So if you're, over there on the, out there, what would we call it over there? East of the Atlantic Ocean? Is that what we would say?
I don't know what we call ourselves here anymore. We can't make our mind up who we want to be part of.
Yeah.
Hey ho.
But anyway, that's it. We're going tonight, and we seem to be getting more and more. We started out not badly. In fact, it was one of those things where everybody else was thinking, "Hey, that was pretty good," and I was like, I was the one holding all the problems in my head. There were some technical issues, things like that. We had performance issues that we were trying to deal with. So I'm trying to solve all these kinds of problems, right? The dice come out and they're rolling incredibly slowly, things like that. So in my head, I'm like, I've got a list of 5 big problems easily and a bunch of minor ones I've got to solve. So I'm focused on those. Everybody else is like, hey, not bad. And I think from a viewing standpoint, I think it delivered what our intent was, which is comedy, right? We were trying to make people make it funny. And to be honest, a lot of the comedy came from folks in the chat room, right? They were saying really funny things. And so we were popping it up as we were playing. So it was from my perspective, really, that was something I had not anticipated was going to happen, but it's actually now a key component of it. And I think it makes it really fun for everybody. So cool, right? It's kind of organically grown. I love too that this has been like this kind of idea that I'm trying to do, and trying to get hey, sometimes people, whatever, they couldn't make it or they didn't prioritize it, things like that, right? Along the way, we went through like 3 to 4 different dungeon masters, So we arrived on our last 4th dungeon master and really, really like him. We just kept pushing it, and now it's actually starting to get better than I thought. Then we're at least from an entertainment value standpoint, what I was considering was my goal. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. Could be Salva says, yeah, a bunch of comedians in chat. There are. Yeah, Excel's adding time to alarms and clocks. By the way, I love that feature where you can chat out in your color. I think that's what Excel 809 just did. And I think that's really fun because it emphasizes what you're saying. So anyway, I was just showing people what we had done before here, where we had this dynamic throttling. That was kind of a really cheap. Yeah. And the thing I kind of like about this is it sounds super, like we were doing some serious, rocket science here.
Yeah, dynamic throttling, that incredibly high-tech sounding thing where we do less.
Yeah, we actually did less. And Rory's like, oh, Mark, as the die are like, if they're rolling really fast, that's when we want to check the velocity of each die. And I'm like, of course, that's how the awesome people would do it. But we're going to do it in the show in like an hour or less. So we're going to do something cheap and easy. And the cheap approach turned out to be really satisfying to me in terms of
it worked, didn't it?
Yeah, it worked.
You can't argue with results.
I was pretty happy. It gave us some results. Rename it Throttle Rush, right? Yeah, right. Throttle Rush, yeah. So anyway, that's what we created. Dynamic throttling there. It looks like I need a space in there, but guess what? We've got my favorite. I feel like I should show up in an ad for Visual Studio at some point in time, with good lighting on me, sitting back here like this, like, oh yeah, I'm a tough programmer and I use XAML hot reload every day. And they're going to be like, wow, and fire effects and things like that. That's how I envision it. Probably best that I'm not running Microsoft right now. Good thing I declined that offer.
Yeah.
It's like,
okay.
I was like, yeah, no, I got dragon humpers to put on. So today now we do the hard work, and it's also hard too because normally on the show I like writing code quickly. I like figuring out problems quickly, and I vastly prefer writing new code to digging into old code. Right? Today we're doing the hard stuff. We're digging into old code. We're gonna, this is like all the work that happens in the background before you produce a Fast and Furious movie, right? We're gonna do all the hard work. We're gonna, do the physics, do the calculations, or create the test cases. That's what we're gonna do today because we've got kind of a big problem that can only be solved that way. We have edge case bugs that kind of only show up based on certain sequences of events that are occurring. I need to protect that with test cases. We need to be able to have test cases that we can run because we're doing a live show, right? We need to be able to recover live while we're working, and before the show starts, I need to be able to run test cases for every player's spell. Right, I can't do this manually because there's too many spells. Make sure they're all working well, and maybe even create a test case that dynamically calls things in different orders to make sure we don't have any order-specific edge case issues. Let's bring up some music.
Kind of like assert universe in good working order.
Yeah, and again, because it's a live show, I want that confidence going into the live show that my code is going to work, right? Before we start it. One of the things I started doing, by the way, so in preparing for this, I stopped doing I stopped doing multiple instances of Visual Studio with CodeRush loaded on this show. So normally what I would do to start this show up is I'd load Mr. Announcer Bot, the overlays, I would start and run those, and then I would have maybe 1 or 2 more instances of Visual Studio up and running. Right now I've only got 1. And so what's happened is I've got standalone versions of the Overlay Manager, Mr. Announcer Bot running all by themselves. That also means we have no protection if an exception is thrown, right? If we throw an exception in here and it's not caught, those crash and we're out. But it's also a good test to see, hey, are exceptions thrown, right? And we really aren't seeing that. We've been running that live in Visual Studio, catching and wrapping the exceptions for over a year, right? So we've caught some edge case ones, including one that occurred when someone subscribed, right? So it was like this weird edge case bug. We weren't understanding what was happening. We didn't understand the connection until I happened to stumble upon some research, somebody else's research, that led me to conclude that was likely the case. And after fixing it, we have not had the problem again. Remember, Rory, when we'd lose control of the overlays, right? We wouldn't be able to, the fanfares would stop working.
That's right. All our communication between various pieces seems to just halt.
Yeah. So we're essentially running bare naked with these, instances that are running of the Overlay Manager and the Mr. Announcer Bot, which are both of these 2 windows right here. One other thing I feel like I should show you here, and to show you, I have to actually open it up. And to be honest, I wasn't prepped to show you this, but I think it's super interesting. This is something that I learned, did not know, and had to write code to work around. So, and I just got to find the right file to open up to show you this. But it was not easy. It was not simple, maybe is a better way of saying it. It wasn't simple to get the standalone versions running of the Overlay Manager. Let's see, is it up here? Is it Program? Here it is. So this code here used to not have this on it. It used to just be create default builder, use startup, and we were done. Well, guess what? When we started standalone, it doesn't know what URL it needs to use. That's set inside probably, I don't know. Let's see, properties, I would bet. You go into properties, I bet somewhere in there we've got something in there saying, here you go. I bet that's part of it, right? The other really important part, which was like kind of slightly mind-blowing to me, is when this starts up, it uses the web root folder of your www root folder automatically. But if I start it up standalone, it doesn't know how to get to it. And the path is different because where Visual Studio starts the executable. So if the debugger is attached, in other words, I'm starting from Visual Studio, I'm just going to use www root. But if I'm starting it standalone, I have to get the relative path, which means I got to go back from my ASP.NET 2.1 folder, back to my debug folder, back to my bin folder, and then back out up to www root. Does that make sense? Is this?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Is this like so painfully obvious to everybody else, but just not me, Rory? Does everybody know this?
I don't know that that's necessarily true, because it's very easy. If you start off in a web world, which is kind of what we were doing, then you're in a web application and you have these folders like www root inside the project. Then you sort of start thinking, well, hang on, we're going to run this independently. So what is running it, and what is exposing it to the world? Yeah, and this is kind of what you're finding here, right? So you're kind of self-hosting, I think is the term. Is that right?
Yeah, I am.
So you run the executable, and it sort of says, aha, over here, I'll accept, requests coming in on this port, and after that, I'll do webby things with them, and it's all good. But until it volunteers to get stuff from that port in that location, there's no way anything's communicating with it.
Yeah. I'm like watching by now, back to your volume issue right here. Our speakers, which is you coming out, are at 10. So I've popped you up a bit. I've moved you up a little bit off of my main mixing board for the folks out in Skype. So hopefully that'll work for you kids out there. Is Rory's voice any better? Cody Self says, no, it's not obvious. Well, I'm glad that was not obvious to somebody, because because I'm not a web dev, I'm not a web dev, and I'm not a database guy. Those are the two things I've never been in my life. And so in this space, I'm kind of, learning, playing, definitely, uninformed. Rory's volume's fine now. Good. And so, it's not clear to me sometimes, like if this was like obvious to everyone. Actually, Brendan Elric of Dev Chatter helped me out with this one. What'd you say?
He knows some stuff.
He does, yeah. So he was the one who said, well, he was the guy who said this. And I was like, oh, okay. That explains. Like because we were kind of looking at it, and it was. But I'll tell you one thing that was exciting for me is during this we were trying to figure something out, and I was like, wait, couldn't I just throw this in a browser now and we could look at console error messages? And Brendan was like, yeah, you could. And I was like, oh, I'm getting something. I'm learning something here. So we actually, that was part of the problem too, is we did that, brought up the console log, and we realized, oh, it couldn't find the pieces. We were like, why couldn't find him? And then, why can't it find the assets? And Brendan's like, this is it. This is why. And so this is what we had to do to make it so that I could run it from both, hitting run here and starting it and everything working, and also starting it from PowerShell as well. Okay?
Nice.
All right. Who else pictures Rory in an overstuffed leather chair, cardigan sweater, smoking pipe, with a snifter of brandy on the table next to him in front of a fireplace?
Now,
that's how I've only pictured you.
It's funny that description should be mentioned, because that's exactly how I was picturing you when you were talking just a few minutes ago about turning down the job at Microsoft to running it.
Well, it's kind of like that.
Exactly the picture I had.
Except for I have the evil cat and I'm petting it, hatching my evil plans, and James Bond is like tied up.
You can theoretically do that with a puppy now, right?
That's true, I can. Puppy is called Goat. That's what we're doing. Okay, so I'm gonna close this down. I don't know. Keep it open. What are we gonna do? We're gonna work here. Are we gonna work here? I don't think we're gonna work here today. I'm gonna just minimize it. Let's get over here. And so now we're gonna do the hard work here. So I have the app running also standalone. By the way, the other reason I did all this standalone stuff is because I'm trying to my system is thrashing right at when I've got everybody in the call and we're streaming live. When everything is hitting the system, it's really, sometimes the dice rolls really drop down. So I'm doing everything I can to free up some space, some CPU power. And one of the things I did is let's have these run standalone instead of
less copies of Studio.
Instead of loading up Visual Studio and loading up CodeRush 2. And what's interesting is that it is noticeably faster. The apps start up faster and they refresh faster. And the overlays seem to refresh faster. And I'm like, a little bit like, whoa, that's that's unexpected to me. By the way, in the future,
I'm curious, did you build those apps in release mode as well?
No, they're still built in debug.
No?
Yeah, you think I'll see another difference if I do that?
I don't know. Some people think so. Some people aren't so sure.
I have to tell you, I'm scared to death of building in release mode. I've done that for because there's something about being in debug mode that makes me feel so much more secure, that I can attach to the process and get a
please
call
don't
stack.
take away my superpowers.
Yeah. .NET Core's fast. Dog at his feet, says Codebase Alpha. Yeah. So, okay, so this is the app. We're going to change this, and most importantly, we're going to change the low-level D&D core. And so here comes the hard work. Here comes the hard work here. So let's go out. It is the places of interest are this roll the dice that takes a dice roll.
Okay.
One of the things that I was looking at, and I looked at this just this morning before we started, and it's interesting. It's important to find out, is dice roll, the data in dice roll, modified before we actually roll the dice by anything? And so let's look where this is called here. This is called from a number of places here. I don't know. This is like a Paladin Smite that sets it up. This is like, I think, something that's not used anymore. I bet if I tapped an X reference here, yeah, it's just stuck right here. Since we're not running, we can kill it, I suppose. Maybe comment it out. Let's go back here. Roll the dice. Where else?
This is all checked in and ready to destroy and roll back if we need.
Yeah, Rory, I'm glad you said it, but yes, it is. I have an alarm that goes off before every show that says check in, and I do it most of the time. So here we go. I'm going to keep this. This is, hey, doubles, fire chaos bolt again. Yeah, I'm going to do that. although not very data driven, right? It's very code centric right here. So anyway, there's a roll the dice called there though. Repeat last roll. Doesn't look like it's called from anywhere. It's commented out so we don't polluting our tabbed index reference exploration. Sneak attack click. That's also gone. We used to have these hard-coded buttons in here, and we got rid of them. Wild magic check. Is that attached to anything? Roll wild magic. It's only here. Roll wild magic is called, from the Dungeon Master app, so of course we can do that. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use, should be able to work here, inline method and delete. That's what I'm expecting. Got a perf issue. All right, let's report the perf issue there. Mark the start of the issue. All right, kids. I just roll back like about 20 seconds. I wanted to grab inline method and delete. I'm inside what is it? Which one am I in? I'm inside DHDM right here inside of main window.xaml. And I hit the coder's key and it took like, I want to say probably at least 12 seconds to come up. And so perf issue there, take a look at that, see what's going on. I'm logging you perf data. Hopefully there's something there.
Genesis 7, where are
Let's
you?
send that out.
We need your help. White House.
All right, so one more time, hit the code rush key. It should be less this time. That's why I didn't repeat it. Whoops, come over here and hit it. Yeah, no, it's definitely taking some time. And there it is. Okay, I want inline method and delete is what I want to do. I want to use that refactoring to grab that piece and remove it. So there's my roll wild magic piece, roll the dice. So let's keep going through here. Just want to see how many calls. Unleash the dice. Who's calling that? Roll dice. Oh yeah, you're laughing because it's a seriously roll the dice now. I've got to unleash the dice. I've got all these different things here around here. Here's roll dice.
I only laugh because I've seen the same in my own code bases. You've got this core feature that does this thing, and then you wrap it in another thing that says, no, really, do it this time in this other way. Suddenly there are 5 variations of this wrapping code.
Yeah.
It just happens over time.
Unleash the next roll. I'm going to call this the next roll because that's what's really happening here. Right? It's if next roll type is not equal to this. What'd you say?
Release the Kraken.
Yeah, release the Kraken. I kind of feel like I should be extra careful here and there it is again, add block delimiters and do like this is just set this equal to dice roll type.none. I kind of like, let's just see what's happening inside roll the dice. Is that happening guaranteed inside there in some simply obvious place to see it? Nope, it's not. So I'm gonna throw that there anyway. Okay. So sometimes now with dice rolls, sometimes an action that a user can take will define the dice roll. Will create a new dice roll, and sometimes the action that a user can take will modify the dice roll. And so those are two of the things that have kind of made this a little non-standard in terms of the code that's here. I'm almost thinking that we want to change this, Rory.
Yep.
That it goes like this, that the ones that create will create the dice roll, and the ones that mod won't modify the dice roll, but they'll create a mod and add it to like a list of mods maybe.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And then those will be merged together when we need to see the net effect of the two. For example,
You've kind of got a list of environmental modifications or factors.
Yeah.
Not by virtue of the creation itself.
Yeah, and we have different ways that we can actually mod. We have the expression evaluator that we built, and we actually have features that mod. For example, there's a spell called Shillelagh, something like that. That is, I feel like I can say it, but I can't every time I try. that is you cast on a weapon, and it changes the hit die of the weapon from 1d6 to 1d8 plus 2 for the next minute. So the weapon now suddenly has different stats. And and I haven't really figured out how I'm going to implement that. Am I going to have the weapon have an attachable mod capability to it that changes what it is? That's a possibility. And then we select the weapon. I think that's what I'm going to do. But then that also means my targeting. So I was thinking my targeting for spells was going to have to be able to target any player or any monster in the game or any area. So I thought I had, two different kinds of targets: creatures and three-dimensional spaces in the game. But now I've added a new target, which is objects, or at the very least weapons.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, how am I going to implement the UI for picking a weapon now, right? Because we want this to be push-button kind of behavior, so that somebody can have a stream deck with a bunch of buttons and just hit those buttons as a DM and make those things happen.
So as it stands, you've got a weapon that you use the weapon, you attack, and that generates a set of parameters for the dice roll, right?
Yeah.
And you then pass that into the roll the dice.
Yeah.
Right? What you're saying is you need an additional set of information that says, well, hang on, it's not just the weapon itself that is sort of contributing to this input.
Right.
There is environmental facts.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is that if you attribute those environmental facts to the weapon, so you cast the spell on the weapon, and now the weapon now has this extra set of data, are you now having to pass the weapon into the roll dice and have it extract the two pieces? Or do you take the two pieces off the weapon and just have them go in? So there is sort of core roll and then environmental effects.
I feel like I can confidently answer that question as we don't know the answer. And that whatever, and I can also confidently say that I think it's highly likely that we're going to mess it up the first and second and maybe even third time on this before we get to something elegant that exactly solves this problem in a way where we're all like, look at us, we're awesome.
Fair enough.
That's what I think is going to happen. I think that I do think that the work we're doing today or about to do today is definitely a step in the right direction. It's going to get us closer. Once we have these test cases to protect us, right, then we can start taking other steps in other directions and trying them out.
Yes.
That's all I got. And also, I think it's fair to say, too, that you could take probably at least 3 different approaches, and make it work on this.
Yes, there's got to be more than one approach that is appropriate and will work correctly.
Yeah, the problem that I'm having, though, is that there's no one solution that's incredibly clear to me. For example, there's an implementation problem with our expression engine that at one point during the game, I hit the button for Fred to bring up his great axe, and it took like 6.5 seconds for the button to come up. For the weapon to come up after I hit the button. But when I did it for Ava, it came up immediately. And I was like, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? And I finally go in and I start exploring it, and I realize, oh no, Fred has got like 10 different features, and a feature is tied to code. And when a feature changes, and it's tied to state, and when state changes, I go and recalculate all the features. Well, because these features were all interrelated, I was recalculating every single one, right? Instead of working out a dependency graph on them, which is what I really should have done if I had more time, right? To build a dependency graph. It's a lot like, think about formulas in a spreadsheet, right? If I have formulas that depend on values of cells, and those cells have formulas that depend on others, right? And now I'm somewhere randomly modifying one cell. You want to have a graph that tells you which cells do I need to update very quickly, and which ones are going to keep their value, don't need to change.
Because the answer might be, these 10 cells in this order, rather than those 3,000 cells you've got in the sheet somewhere.
Or 3 million. Or in other words, right? In other words, what I've done, the way I've implemented the expression evaluator with features is not scalable, right? I need to create this dependency graph if I'm going to make it scalable. So because I've got this problem, this performance problem with the features, I can't just say, okay, I'm going to solve the problem with features. And we've got this, in other words, features is not strong enough to solve the problem yet. So I either have to make features strong enough to solve the problem, or I have to use features lightly so they don't have strong interdependencies. That sort of kind of thing. And so I worked around the problem a little bit by said, okay, if anybody comes in and says, we're making a state change, we're going to invalidate all the features, but we're going to recalculate them at the very end. And when we recalculate them, we're going to kind of set a flag so we don't keep triggering this again and again and again. this kind of, thing. So yeah, I think there are, like I said, I think there are about 3 or 4 ways, distinctly different strategies to solve this. I think no matter which of those strategies we take, the work we're doing today is definitely a step in the right direction. And we could branch off from the work we did today in any of those directions, I think. I don't think this is going to stop us from doing any of those changes. But the essence of what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to take the code that's backwards right now, and I'll show you that code. It's inside of Activate Shortcut. This method right here, which takes a shortcut and goes in and sets the UI, right? And then later from the UI, we call prepare roll. So we call prepare roll at some point in time. And look, it goes to the UI and then puts it over onto dice roll. It's completely backwards. If I was a smarter person, a more experienced at this, I think, after having done this already, what I would have done instead is I would have said, we're going to get the dice roll from the shortcut and then pass the data from the dice roll onto the UI. So there's going to be one function that sets the UI from the dice roll. In fact,
the nice thing is it takes the UI and the abstract and it sort of pulls them apart so that you can, well, you can then write a unit test. You can say, here is my abstract dice roll. I'm going to declare if we start with this and we do the following, something should be the case. And now you haven't got UI getting in the way of being turned on, turned off, toggled, all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And run much quicker as a result too.
Yeah. So here's what I want to do. So this is Activate Shortcut. I want to do this. I'm just going to type this in without using rename right here. I'm going to create a new Activate Shortcut, right, like this. And I'm going to kind of write what I want it to look like. What I really want it to look like is something like this. Dice roll. No. I think I want it to look, I'm getting close, but hold on. I think I want it to look like this. If action shortcut dot modifies existing roll, look, I've already got that in there. That's what I thought I was going to have to add it, but I don't. If it modifies existing roll, then I'm going to say, I want to say current roll dot modify with action shortcut, I guess, or just modify like that, better. Okay, current roll dot modify. Otherwise, I'm going to say current roll dot is equal to get new dice roll, right? Action shortcut. Now, I think at this point, by the way, I think you're like, oh, you know what, Mark? I'm feeling it. I'm feeling like this method. Like, I'll ask you, Rory. Do you think, hold on, let's make it so we've got, these are, we're getting rid of some of these underlines right here. We do that. Let's declare this. Declare method. Okay, let's go back and get new dice roll. Let's declare that. And actually, I want to put this down in D&D utils. No, wait, hold on. Dice roll dot get from. That's what I think I want to do instead. There, action shortcut. Let's declare that. Sweet. Okay. Now, so my question is, so we've just added these two methods right here, right?
Yep.
Totally unimplemented. Got to make those things work. But my question to you is this: do you feel that these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines of code are easier to read than these several hundred? Okay, I'm going to take that as a yes. All right, so we're on the right track. This is what I'm talking about, right? This is what I'm saying, right? This is where we're at. So current roll. There's maybe one other thing that's happening here. We have several choice points where we make a decision on whether we need to roll the dice or not. Like there's some cases where we need to, some cases where we not. And here we have these pieces in here as well in try-finallys. So I think we need to bring our try-finallys across is what we need to do.
The only question, I've got a quick question, because I can see little bits of code in there that imply, and I've seen this happen when we've rolled dice, there are certain kinds of dice rolls that have to roll, complete, and their values are analyzed under the right circumstances to determine should a second set of dice be rolled.
Mm-hmm.
Is that compatible with what we're trying to do?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think there's going to be any problem there. Yeah, I'll tell you where I think the problems are.
Cool.
I think the problem is I'm about to introduce a ton of bugs. Is what I think the problem is, because this code is this existing
shoebox of bugs. Here we go.
Yeah. Well, because this code is got all of these different conditional exceptions, right? In this case, do we do this? In this case, do we do that? We need to really carefully look at, I think, every line of code and every method that's called from here to see what's going on and how do we keep it all working with the new way. That's why I'm not going to touch this. I'm going to keep this here just in case, right? Because we have
it's a nice roadmap of where we've been that we can compare with and go, okay, are we still trying to do that? And are we still trying to do it in roughly the same circumstances?
Wait, we're trying to focus now. Can we do this another time, Pudding? Sorry, why does Pudding always do this to me? Yeah, Pudding's here to hijack the show. Yeah, has anyone seen where my show went? Oh, it's here.
Pudding Show.
What'd you say? Yeah, it's the Pudding Show. That was the Pudding Show, kids. We do it every time. You know who I wanted to show up? Retro CRT. And you know why, Rory? We talked about it yesterday. Also, by the way, Angry Little Hamster.
My mind is going wild just imagining what you might have come up with.
Yeah, I've also started work on Angry Little Hamster and Deep Water, and I've still got Greg, WF Senior. You're on my list. Haven't done anything yet. Who else? Where's my list? So make sure I don't forget anybody. Frank Boucheros. And live coding, I thought would be a good one to do too, right there. So that's the group right here. Anyway, Angry Little Hamster's on the way, in progress, working on it, trying to get it to a point trying to get everything from a point of, oh, that's just good enough to, oh, that's funny, well, that's really fun, something like that. Okay, so I want to take those two, I want to put them down here. And I want to get some tries up here. I'm just going to, I'm going to type in TF like this to get to here, I think. Copy, paste. And then that should be syntactically correct. Okay. So, player. We'll grab this line of code right here. And we're going to pop it up there like that. Like it's this player. Spell to cast on and roll. I'm not sure what's going on.
Dumb question.
Yep.
We just added some finally code that sets internally to false. Does that suggest maybe we need to look for where we're setting it to true?
That is the dumbest question I've ever heard, Roy. Why there's no way that could be either just introduced a bug out of nowhere. Oops. Or maybe I did. Okay, so now, same question. Are these 30 lines of code still easier to read than these several hundred? I'm going to say we're still easier to read. Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, so we're kind of working our way through there. All right. Now, what's kind of interesting is we could, I'm not sure if I want to do this or not, but I was thinking we could refactor so that the piece that's we're changing is just this piece right here, right? In other words, we can refactor this. I'm not sure if this makes sense what I'm saying. I'm saying we can take this, make this code that's outside this, everything that's outside of this, put it down here in the same order, right? Because that try goes all the way down to the end. It does. It's essentially the same. And just so we're taking this part, the part that's inside the try. Oh, but there's two try pieces. There's one before and a second one down here.
Trying two things.
Yeah, the setting internally goes before the second one. Yeah, so there's this prep sub over. Yeah, this is going to be a little bit like reeling here. It's going to be some reeling going on here. I'm going to go ahead and continue. I'm not going to try to do that. The setting internally, I do have it before the second try, so that part is correct. There. What else do I want to do?
There must be some abstract sort of way of naming, because that is a very big method, that old method there. I mean,
It is.
Can we take the first half and the second half and give them names that suitably describe what they're trying to achieve, so that we could break it into two methods, or maybe even more?
We kind of can, but we can't easily get out of here because
Yes.
Visual Studio doesn't let us extract a method with a return, a code block with a return in it. So we start thinking to yourself, who wrote this code? Yeah, I'm gonna. I know. I'm gonna blame Fred on this. You did it, right, Fred? Really? Okay. I still think it was you. All right, fine. He's very insistent.
They're both right. It's the invisible guy between them there.
So in order to make this work, oh, God. Well, I can do this. This is a way to trick it. Like this. You comment it out, and I'm going to throw my initials in here, something like that, or do like a triple star here, or something like that. And then I'll search for that and uncomment it out after I extract it. So we're going to now take from here to here, and we'll do your suggestion, because I actually kind of like it. Let's do it. We'll come in here, extract method, and oh, it looks like we're getting a spell.
Pass in a shortcut, apply it, and get a spell out. That sounds plausible. Although spell is somewhat specific to a generic action, or a shortcut. Because can't an action equally be just to, hit someone with a sword? Or
Yeah, I'm a little worried about the spell coming out. There. It's not just getting the spell. It's just that we need it. So I think what I'm going to do, let's modify this a second here. Let's close this down. Let's get rid of this for a second. Let's make the spell let's put the spell here as an out parameter. New method, we're going to say out spell. Like that. And I think we want to say something like, if not new method, then return. And we're going to go into new method, find that line we commented out, and we're going to say return false here. And then we're going to say return true at the end, is what we're going to do.
okay,
We're going to set spell to null at the, so we're down here we're going to say return false. No, is that right? Return true.
return true this time.
That means we got a spell, I think. I don't know what the truth is. No, it doesn't mean that necessarily.
True is simply success. We have yet to determine exactly what that means, but
What's my problem here? Out parameter must be assigned. Yes. We're going to set this to null. Okay. So I believe I've done no changes at all to the functionality of this code. I've got new method. We need to now figure out what new method does, and so we can call it. And I actually think we should, this is actually kind of an interesting idea, Rory. I actually like what we're about to do. I think we should identify chunks in here. I don't think we have to name new method yet.
not yet.
Let's
we can divide it up first.
yes. Let's
with things that we know it
recursively-
definitely is doing.
Let's use the thing we always make the computers do and do it ourselves. Hold on a second. I got to check in on one of my kids with regards to coronavirus. Uh-oh. So my daughter, who's in Seattle, has a roommate who has a dry cough and just started. They did a deep clean of the house yesterday, keeping a close eye on her health. Yeah, she sent me. So this is the same daughter that I said, hey, I want to strongly encourage you to get on a plane and come to Costa Rica. And let's do this tomorrow. She's like, no, I'm going to stay and help my community. And I'm like, ugh. And then I'm like, I want to strongly encourage you to get on a plane. Because it's not that I thought she was, that her life was in danger, but I thought her mental health was in danger. Based on my calculations and based on what I saw that was happening in the States, which was essentially nothing, right, for a long time, for easily 30 days or something like that, nothing was happening. I I thought the likelihood that she was going to see gruesome stuff was high. And I normally, we don't talk about stuff like this on the show. We just say in happy fun land in the code. But so I was like, look, based on my calculations, based on what I'm looking at with the numbers, Seattle's going to look like Lombardy, Italy in about 10 days. And so get on a plane now. And she said, no. And I made one final plea when I found out that I'm in Costa Rica, when I found out Costa Rica was about to close its borders down to non-residents and non-citizens. And so I had like about 40 hours to get her here and to get all my kids here. And I sent all my kids notices and they all said no. So now my daughter is sharing a place with, I think 2 roommates maybe. And one of them is not feeling well and coughing. And in Seattle. So, last night she said, we tried to get a thermometer and they're sold out everywhere. And I'm like, yeah, I ordered a thermometer 2 weeks ago and it's just now being shipped to Costa Rica. It's just now getting on a plane from Miami. So yeah, had to check in on her. Hope hope everything's going to be okay for everybody. I'm really most worried, like I say, most worried about the long-term emotional hit that quarantining, that hearing about loss from friends is going to take on people. That's what it is. That's why it was so imperative, Rory, that you come back to us, right?
I'm here, buddy.
Because we can't. I know, but we can't do a show in light and happy funland if you were painfully gone. So you got to stick around. All right. So I'm going to keep. This is the first time I've ever done this in my life. I'm going to keep new method around for a little bit, and we're going to come back later and look at it. Also, the first time I've ever used this recursive procedure, but I think it's brilliant. And I want to thank you, Rory, for suggesting it. I think it's a great idea.
Cobase Alpha was blaming me as well earlier. So just remember, all of this was Rory's idea.
Yeah.
We're getting our blame ready.
Yeah, no, I see that. Get the blame ready. By the way, I'm glad everybody else is with us out there. Pudding, glad you're with us. Help us out along the way here. All right, so, I don't know, let's start looking at this. We also have some horrible asymmetry. We have extreme amounts of asymmetry here. Right, I've got this nice named method, activate pending shortcuts. Okay, cool. And then what's this, right? So activate pending shortcuts. Shortcuts to activate after clearing the dice. What? Activate the shortcut. Shortcut activate after clearing the dice is null. Direction shortcut, then activate it. So there could be a shortcut to activate after clearing the dice. Let's go see what those are. Activate shortcut request. Oh, this is if somebody hits something while we're running. So if the DM says, I want you to do this, pick up this weapon next, we're waiting to clear the dice, we're just setting it but not rolling until the dice are cleared. That's what's happening here. So does it make sense for activate pending shortcuts to be in here? I'm not sure. I'm going to put should this be here? Or maybe it should be pulled out. Just finished lunch. Could use some dessert. Maybe pudding. Perfect. Yeah. And active trailing effects is empty. Active. So this is kind of high level stuff, high level values. At the very least, I can take these 3 and strip them out, pull them out. And so we'll do that. Why not? Because we can at least give this a good name. And this name is going to be reset active fields. All right, so that's good.
Okay.
Assign trailing effects, assign die roll effects. Okay. All right, we'll do that. So this is
the great part about this is every step we go through here, we get to name a piece of code after what it's actually doing. So eventually, you just read through this like it's pretty much English.
Yeah.
Right? We're going to activate some shortcuts, reset some fields, assign some die roll effects. Fantastic. We just covered what was 15 lines of code.
Surely Dead is in the house.
Surly Dev. Yeah, he does one PR on GitHub and
Welcome.
he thinks he's an open source contributor. Surly Dev, fork off. Let's just hope he never clones himself. Surly Dev, I don't want to hear anything about how your coin count has dropped to 0. I'm going to do it again and again and again and again. You keep collecting the coins. You come to the show with hope, and I'm going to dash your hopes every time, Surly Dev, because it's important to keep you surly. He's bringing out the drone. He's just going for it. Yeah, get all these coins too. I don't like how these coins are all like in sync. That bugs me. All right, so here we are modifying an existing role. So the action shortcut could modify an existing role. All right, so it could be one of these things right here. I'm going to say modify existing role. I'm going to extract this piece right here. Extract method.
So this is interesting because modifies existing role is what you're testing outside of this method.
Show me.
The call to new method comes from a place where you were previously also.
Well, kind of. It's like,
I mean, for different purposes.
it was
perhaps,
here, right here. And so that the piece I just added here, hold on a second. Where's modifies existing role? Modify existing role. I'm thinking that we can come in to here and call it as well from here. Maybe. So I'm thinking we might be able to do this because we need to modify the dice roll, right? Because this is a type dice roll. The dice roll is the data we send down to the overlay that shows it, talks about what kind of special effects are going to be in there, that sort of thing. This is the data we send down through SignalR. So modify roll is here, but modify existing role here. This is set vantage for active player. This is modifying. I think this is actually, yeah, this is just setting the UI. Is what this is doing. And that's setting the UI. But then we have this execute commands at the end. And execute commands is, I almost feel like should be pulled out of here. Let's go back to where this is called. I almost think that should not be here, but it should be here. That should be here. And then go back out, modify existing role here, put it back here. And now we're going to say modifying UI for existing role, modify existing role UI. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, like that. Okay, so this is, so execute commands is still going to happen either way, right? It's going to happen in both places. You good with that? Because all this is doing is anything that changes UI, I'm going to add the word UI to the end of it. I
like that.
Okay.
We'll be able to then just see exactly which halves of our code are doing that, which halves aren't, and then decide where to move them to. But at the moment, we're just naming things better.
Yeah. Set role type checkbox. That's going to set UI. Set role type radio button. That's setting UI as well. So let's follow our, do our thing here. We're going to call this UI. Set role type UI. And this I'm going to extract this too. We're going to call this enable roll dice button. I don't think I'll add UI on there for that. I almost think setting the role type UI. Yeah, I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to decompose parameter here. So this is code rush. So notice it's taking a player action shortcut and it's going to change that into a dice roll type. That's what I'm going to do right there. There, you can see it right there at the end of my finger.
Nice.
So we're going to do that because this is kind of dependent on the role type. So we're going to do that. Okay, next. To do clear the weapons, not spells. I'm taking that out because I don't know what's going on there. And we're going to call this clear existing windups. And I'm wondering if I should have, maybe I'll throw the word overlay in here. So realize there's two different kinds of UI. There's UI in the XAML and there's UI in the game, right?
True.
In the levels. Maybe I'll call it game instead. Wind up game. For game, in game, maybe in game. So I'm going to create anything that has to do with the in-game effects. I'm going to add with in-game at the end. So I like this too in terms of our process right here. Clear additional spell effects. I'm going to clear existing. Let's make this clear existing. Wait, is anybody else calling this? Do we have this code anywhere else in here? We have it here and here. And this is having tab control player changed. Okay. All right. So clear existing windups in game. Let me go back to where this was called from. Okay. No, I'll just paste it in here. I think that's, wait. Hit escape. Do I have to cancel this? Cancel. Are we okay? What's happening? I got a lock up here. Am I locked? It looks like I'm locked. Issue start. All right, kids, looks like I'm locked up. I started, go back about 30 seconds. I started a rename. I did tab to index references. And then while this dialog was up, oh wow, I hit undo. I think this is a Visual Studio bug. That's what I think it is. Look at that, with unsaved changes. Hopefully Visual Studio will catch that for me and bring it back up. Well, the unsaved change, I'm pretty sure was just that one line that we took out. Take a look at that. Take a look at the log files in there. You bet I want to recover that. Maybe I should have said yes. Surly Dev, still waiting on that VBA version of CodeRush. Never. Excuse me, I burped. I'm not sure what that was. Okay. What? What was that, Rory? Did you see what was?
What was what?
Did you notice that? Whoa! Rory! Who was that? Was there somebody there? I didn't see. There was just smoke. Was somebody here?
Gone now.
Wicked Blue Ninja's here. Hi, Wicked Blue Ninja. Got a new fanfare for Retro CRT if Retro CRT shows up. It's kind of fun. It's not too bad. Where was I? Yeah, that's one of the tricky problems is I can't get back. I've lost my history here of where I was. Well, let's go look for a new method. I bet that button. Beachcast is here as well. Welcome, Beachcast. How you doing, buddy? All right. Okay, new method. I think I got something on the clipboard still, do I? Nothing on the clipboard. Nothing on my clipboard history either, I bet. Clear existing windups in game. We had a line of code here that we lost. We lost it because I said recover. Player, I think it was .clear spell effects or something like that. Clear additional spell effects. That's the thing. That's the line of code I think we had. Doing great, just checking things out. Welcome. Roy, you want to tell them what we're doing while I try to make put my brain on think?
Basically, we have what you might call some legacy code here, which is to say that we wrote it a little while ago. And it's a big method. We're, broadly speaking, we're building a Dungeons and Dragons ESPN system for a second show that goes out on a Thursday evening and a Sunday evening. Which Mark is, along with a couple of colleagues, he's basically broadcasting a live Dungeons and Dragons. So we have all the usual sort of things: character sheets, spells, weapons, and lots of dice rolling, obviously going on. But it's all been as automated as we can possibly make it. And what we're looking at here is the rolling of dice. And from a high level, this is the kind of thing that does your attack dice with special effects depending on the type of attack, the type of weapon, the spell in question, taking into account defenses that various people have and bonuses they may have from environmental factors, and we're just trying to make it a little bit more readable. This has evolved over some time now. And so we want to be able, firstly, make this more readable, and then secondly, try to abstract the, literally the abstract pieces of this away from the UI so that we can put some testing in place against it. Once we have some testing in place, we can actually say things like, okay, when this dice roll happens, and presuming we get these values, then we want these other knock-on effects, and we can start to build a body of tests that will give us huge amounts of confidence that this is working in all the various situations that we want it to be. That cover roughly what we're doing?
It feels like I covered it awesomely what we're doing. That was awesome. Thanks, Roy. Okay, so still just going through clear existing windups in game, player clear additional spell effects. I think I can refactor this to clear all temporary effects in game. Like that. So now I've got this and that. Although in game, this piece is doing, maybe not in game here, because it's not entirely devoted to the game. This is the player class. It's just going in and changing its data. Clearing the additional spell effects, so anything along those lines. Okay. How about this? Weapon and spell effects. I like that better. Okay. All right. So this is game-related. This is a game-related action right here, which basically says, hey, look, somebody's taking a turn right now. And that's used by the game to figure out what round we're in. So if player A takes a turn and then some other players take a turn and then it's player A's turn again, then we've gone through one round. Or substitute some other player. If I take a turn and then a bunch of other players take a turn and then it's my turn again, then we've gone through one round. So we're just doing that to track rounds. Let's extract that. Track rounds. And let's use CodeRush's decompose parameter again to turn that action shortcut into a reaction. I'm sorry, into a turn part that we're passing in. See it right there? You can see it right over there. So let's do that.
Yep.
Now that's the Surly we all know and love. The Blue Ninja says it's going great. So far, so good. Yay, got a new emote. Excellent. Staying at home is fun. All right, so there we go. We've now passing in a turn part here, track rounds on there, and then we've got this.
Incoming, C# Fritz, raiding with a party of, what was that, 100? No, really? That many? Sorry, no, 95. Still very close. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome, C# Fritz. How you doing, buddy? C# Fritz. Welcome, 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 kids. Glad to have you with us. There you go. There's the guy. There's the guy we know and love that started the whole thing. There he is. He's flying a little close. Just don't take over my show with your giant hat, please. It's like shoes are too big, but the hat kit doesn't fit, right? His hat's too big. It doesn't fit me. Welcome, Jeff. How you doing, buddy? How was your stream? Good, I hope. Good, good, good. Hey, I'm working on your live coders thing, the live coders transition. I've done some work on it, not complete yet, but I think I have till Friday, I assume, maybe, to get that for you. Like, holy cow. I have to do something. I have to create a 5-minute video for Dev Express for the live coders conference. And I got to get the live coders transitions, because that's one of the things I volunteered to help out with on the live coders team for their live conference that they're doing coming up here. Jeff, you got a link I can give somebody for people that want to learn more about the live coders conference out there that we're going to do? What do we got here? Gnarly85 says string answers console read line to upper string answer upper up to upper. If answer upper is equal to dogs. I'm not sure what Gnarly85 is saying. Great stream. We learned more about Q&A Maker. I don't know what Q&A Maker is. I'm gonna go. I'll go try and find a link out to that baby right now and figure out what Q&A Maker is. It sounds like it's a question and answer maker, maybe. Let's figure it out. Let's go catch up with what the kids did. While I do that, Rory, you want to tell everybody what we did? You're listening to the voice of Rory Becker, by the way. Rory Becker beat the Rona. Is it too early to say that, Rory?
Oh, I think very much too early.
All right,
I
fine.
beat something.
All right.
It could have been a nasty cold, but I mean,
No code way to build bots. Nice. I love it.
Nice.
I love it.
That's
What's
good.
fun? Oh, it sounds like a super interesting show, Jeff. Yeah. Yes, he had the Rona. He wasn't with us at all last week. Rory hangs out with us as like this kind of body in this virtual.
Let's not get too over the top. I had
Body
a
in the
fairly
sky.
nasty fever, which, as I say, could have been the flu, could have been nothing. I had no other symptoms to speak of, so I isolated. The family are still, but I'm up and about. I'm good.
You had a fever, buddy.
So, yeah.
You had a fever. All right. So yeah. So that was Rory. Let me tell you what we're doing here, kids. If this is if you haven't been here in a while, or you haven't ever seen us, we're creating special effects, live overlays for Twitch streaming for another show. In fact, we're doing that show tonight. We're doing it every Thursday and Sunday nights, at least nights U.S. time. And it's out here. It's Dungeons and Dragons Live, and it's actually comedy Dungeons and Dragons. And it's not it's a show for mature kids. Mature people, not young kids.
No youngsters for this one.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Sparkles the Battle Unicorn. Let me show you Sparkles the Battle Unicorn. So one of our players is not up here now. We've got other players up here on the board now. But one of our players has a Find Steed spell, and when she casts it, after about 10 minutes, because it's got a 10-minute casting time, Sprinkles the Battle Unicorn appears, which looks like this. That's a battle unicorn. That's how many spells cast. Speaking of which, the actress who plays Little Cutie on tonight's show is here. You want to come say hi to everybody? It's also known as Karen Menjikati. Somebody's saying hi to Fred out there. Fred, you good? Yeah? You've not done what? Let me check. Well, you'll find out.
Yeah,
oh, yeah, got some hair there, baby. I want to shave some of that off. Not too much. Not too much. Yeah. Fred, can you say hi, baby, buddy? What?
Hi, baby.
There. Hi, baby.
Hi, Fred, baby.
This is Karen Menjikati. She plays, who do you play?
Little cutie.
Little Cutie.
Cutie.
Yeah. What? Can you give me like a trademark thing that Little Cutie would say if she was in battle?
Break yourself up in a wall, Merkin.
Okay. Or you don't.
Cram it in your cram hole.
Cram it in your grandma hole. You don't need that head.
You don't need that head.
Slice.
I got it for you.
So it's essentially comedy D&D. We've
Yeah.
got special effects all over the place. Sprinkles the Battle Unicorn. We've actually got, we've animated Sprinkles the Battle Unicorn as well. Here's Sprinkles right here. And we can give it a sprinkle blast out here if we want to, like that. And notice his horn changes color. And actually even, here, let's get him to walk here to the left and come over here. Come back on here, buddy. Sprinkles, don't be shy, buddy.
Surly Deb says, I thought Karen was using a voice changer out.
Oh, no, she's not. Here he is, right here. Wait, what's going on? Come back here. What's going on with Sprinkles? Sprinkles like totally like, I don't want to come out today. Here's Sprinkles. There you go. And oh, the other thing I should point out too is Surly Deb likes to just throw seeds like crazy to push the system to its limits. Yesterday we worked on dynamic throttling, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
It is a family show.
This show is a family show. Yeah, I probably should.
Dynamic throttling does
Yeah.
kind of sound like The Simpsons.
But take a look at my GPU over here, kids. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It's like, look at this over here. GPU is at 100% up here for this. We worked on dynamic throttling. The dynamic throttling is for the die roll effects. So if we come in here and we like say, let's say it's Fred's turn, and we go into one of his actions. That's Fred over there. We say, let's bring up maybe your dagger, Fred. There's Fred's dagger. And we give him advantage on the roll, and we say roll the dice. I'm just hitting buttons to do this. Watch what happens. Notice we're changing the front overlay and back overlay frames per second to 5 each of this. So, and we're doing that because when the system is totally taxed, the dice rolls could get really, really slow. And so that speeds up the dice rolls a little bit. And then notice the throttling changes right after the dice rolls are done. So we changed this. That was a cool thing we did yesterday. We've got lots of effects here. You're seeing the die rolls, the different damage types that are coming out. All of those things are there. Chris Jones is with us. Hey, buddy. How you doing, Chris? I'm going to just blow you up here a second. I'm going to hit the dock command here. That's going to clean some of this stuff up. Not good. Let's get rid of Sprinkles as well. We're going to get rid of Sprinkles. Sprinkles is just going to take a nap. If I can get my mouse over here. There we go. Sprinkles got a nice little nap animation.
Sprinkles in a timeout.
Oh, he's frozen.
He's stuck.
He's totally frozen. So I'm not sure what's causing this. I think we're not getting a request animation frame, and somehow there's an exception coming out of it. And the only way out of that is to do a refresh on the back overlay. Yeah, time clock. I mean, time clock's on the front, but the wheel is in the back. Yeah. So I can add days, but the wheel's not spinning here. So yeah, the back overlay is frozen, and I've seen this happen. And so that's my theory, is an exception's occurring before we get to the request animation frame. I thought I made changes to fix that, but it's not, and we're never redrawing. The workaround for that, though, is not too bad. I can come in and I can say, let's refresh that overlay. I think I have to turn it off and turn it back on. It actually could be an infinite loop as well. I suppose that's also possible. Because when I hit the refresh, it didn't really refresh until I turned it off and turned it on. Then it did. And anyway, there, do that, reinitialize the data. So we got some cool special effects that we've been working on the show. I'll throw one more at you. Here's another one that hits the system pretty hard. It's thrown out like about 12 different die that each have the different damage types. The Dungeons and Dragons damage types. See necrotic up there, cold, force, thunder, lightning, piercing, bludgeoning, acid, radiant, fire, and slashing. Psychotic.
If that doesn't hurt you,
What'd you say?
if that doesn't hurt you, nothing will.
Yeah, that doesn't
That's
hurt you,
like
nothing
all
will.
the forms of damage right there in a box.
Yeah. Yeah, it certainly says if you try turning it off and on again. That's the fix right there. Taking a moment to stop and smell the flowers. So, Cesar Fritz says, I cast Blizzard on Sprinkles. Isn't that awesome? It's awesome. Yeah. So yeah, quality testing the GPU, says Jetsam. That's, I'm definitely pushing things here. Yeah, definitely pushing things here. Schrodinger's box. Rory?
Schrodinger's box of
I'm not sure what.
the box of damage,
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
various kinds.
Yeah.
You get in the box, you might get out again.
So today
if you're
we're
very lucky.
Yeah, so today we're refactoring in C#. We have started with some really kind of ugly code. I don't know who wrote it. It might have happened on the show. And it was written over time with it was just a mess. And
It was done on purpose specifically to enable us to have this show here where we demonstrate tidying it up.
That's true. I'm sure that was why it was done. So there's no fault, nobody to blame. I don't want anybody, and it's really important, don't want anybody pointing the fingers at anybody right now. Fred, talking to you. Okay, so Fred, just quiet. So that's Fred over there. Fred's one of the players on the game. You see the name tags down here across the bottom. I can get rid of most of those here. Give me a second. Boom. There we go. And those were the different players. So if you like Dungeons and Dragons, you can go out to twitch.tv/DragonHumpers. We're airing tonight. Going to be really fun, I think. You want to come out there and take a look at it if you like watching fun stuff. If you like painful stuff, then don't come. That's not what we're about. It was written deliberately as a teaching exercise. That's right. That's right. And I caught you. It was to test you to see if you could tell that. So the other component that's wrong about this is we basically have some low-level data coming in and changing UI, and then later we're getting UI and passing it back to low-level data. And what I really want is essentially I want to clean that up. That's what I want. I want to kind of have a clearer directional flow in terms of how this is going. So we started the show and I wrote just a couple lines of code by new method here. We haven't renamed this yet. But it was basically the lines of code were hold on. New method, where's new method called from? That's where I want to be. It was basically, let's take the structure of the old method. So we've got a try here, and we've got a second try here. And here's the final is at the end. And then let's grab the middle stuff right here, and we'll kind of do the refactoring that we need to do. But basically what we wanted to do is something along the lines of hey, if hold on, not here.
We've essentially been doing a whole bunch of extractions and classifications of what the code is for. So this is a UI piece. This is purely logic piece. This is one that sends information to the end of the game. So that we'll be able to do some proper analysis on it afterwards and then sort of shuffle those into the right places.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of a renaming and a clarifying exercise at the moment.
Right, exactly. This is what I thought I was looking at. I was like, wait, what? This looks a little confusing to me. This is what we essentially wrote right here, where we took the 2 tries and we took the 2 finallys, and then we said, hey, look, let's make it simple. If the action shortcut modifies an existing role, then let's modify the role. Otherwise, let's get the brand new role. And I wanted to get it from something low level. And so we've got a DLL or an executable that's high level, and we've got a low level DLL. The advantage of pushing it down low is I'll be able to add test cases. So we're starting off with code that's tough to work with, tough to visualize, that has bugs. We're going to push it down to the lower level DLL and not break anything by tonight for tonight's show. And we're going to hopefully add test cases. So that's what the goal is, what we're going to do.
So let me just check this, Mark. You haven't got a second copy of all of this for the live show? Mm-mm. If we break this now, the show may have some issues?
Yeah, you know why? Because I like living on the edge, Rory. By the way, both of these methods here are empty. We just basically said here, let's look, this is the essence of what we want to work, and we haven't implemented them yet. So that's it. Hey, Camel, can you just talk in half of the loud of the voice, please? Thank you so much. All right. Okay. So, and with all of this, I'm like completely forgot where we were kind of last were on this, right? I think we were working our way through new method is what we were working on. We decided
we did have a bit of a crash, which also helped that distraction.
Yeah. So we're basically, I think, going through. Do I have a new method call in here? I don't. This is the old activate shortcut. I'm feeling like I should see. Oh, there it is right there. There's new method right there. Okay. So we're basically breaking it in. We're going through new method and we're grabbing things and finding them and removing them here. So I'm okay with this code here, I think, for now. Sets roll type UI. This is where we were. We were in here, tracking the rounds for the game here. If it's an attack, then we say the player will attack. This is very similar to what's happening in track rounds, in that we're going into the game and saying creature taking action, and here we're saying player.will attack. I feel like I want to take this and move this in and rename this method, is what I feel like I want to do. And I want to say, instead of saying track rounds, hold on a second. I got Dev Express, somebody from Dev Express is reaching out. I am here, but I'm also live. Get to you later. Look at this cute little kitty. Whoa! Careful, little kitty. There are bad creatures everywhere that are trying to get you. Oh my goodness. Always check your 6, kitty. Always check your 6. That's what I'm talking about.
I feel like I want to carry a Pyrocat around because everything gets crazy.
Yeah. Pyrocat can take on Corona. So anyway, I just asked if I can get back to you later. So we're going to do that. We'll talk to that later. This has to do, I think, with that thing we got to produce here. Everybody likes to come in and say, here's the pressure we're going to put on you today, Mark. Here's what you got to do. Oh yeah, Jeff is actually saying Mark, little bits of polish. Mark says he'll have the transition the next day or so. So apparently he's out in Discord talking about that. In the live coders group, damn cat, you're a killing machine, says Wicked Blue Ninja. Yeah, that cat. Firecat says, hope all is good here. Going insane, spending too long on computers all day, every day, being locked up inside. Just popping in to say hi. Hey, thanks, Firecat, for saying hi. I appreciate it. You know what I want to see today, Rory? Retro CRT. Have I told you?
It may have been mentioned once or twice.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm doing Dev Express talk here for just a second. Yep, I know. They're like, the thing is due tomorrow. And I'm like, I know. I'm going to get it. Don't worry. Everybody's going to get their stuff just in time. All right. So instead of saying track rounds, we need to pass in
Put some new code in there. You were going to maybe rename it to something, but I wasn't sure what.
Yeah, let me throw the action shortcut type in here. So notice that's not working. I also need the action shortcut now again. So I'm just going to throw the action shortcut in is what I'm going to do. So the fastest way to do this with Code Rush is I'm going to hit tap to next reference to get to the call. Come in here.
Dev Express.
That's right, Dev Express. Hit the Code Rush key, choose add parameter, paste it in, hit enter like that. It's going to now add it right there as a parameter. Good. Now where I've got this access to part here, I'm going to say we're going to do this instead. What's it called? It's called part like that. And so now part isn't used anymore, I think, right? Yep, not used. So now I'm going to hit Code Rush key and I'm going to choose remove unused parameter part like that. And so that's it. With just a couple keystrokes, I've changed the method to now take that action shortcut inside. And now I want to rename it. So what Code Rush is inside Visual Studio. It's an extension. It helps you write code faster. Now I'm going to say, and we're dog fooding it every day. That's what's going on here. So instead of calling this track rounds, I want to say, will attack, creature taking turn. Taking action. So we'll say player taking action like that, I think is what we'll say. Player taking action like that. That's what I'm going to call it. Okay. Now we're going to check to see if there's a spell. Okay, so all of this code is likely to be the same right here and needs a name. Player is about to cast spell. That's a game-related thing. This is UI. This is UI related thing, piece right here. So let's take that into its own method. And we're going to call this update. Spell page UI. So we've come up with a convention that we're calling it UI, the name of every method that modifies UI pieces. Spell to cast on roll is equal to action shortcut. Player data change. This is a call out down to the game engine, in-game engine. So we're just sending new player data out to it. And we're basically saying switch to the spell page is what we're saying here. I'm going to extract this alone to say switch to spell page. And what I mean by that, it is, here, can I do this? Cornelia have any spells? Okay. Cornelia's got Druidcraft. That's what I mean. When that thing changes to the spell casting page where the player's spells are listed, that's what just happened there. So let's hide that.
So this is what we've been declaring in the past to be an in-game event rather than a UI.
Yeah. Switch to spell page in-game is what we want to. So we're going to add the words in-game on the end of anything that modifies the game to make things easier to read. Spell to cast on roll is equal to action shortcut. Fix the targeting. I'm going to show casting effects. Casted spell is equal to this spell dot consider casting. So now I'm going to do this. I'm going to extract this, extract method, and I'm going to call this consider casting because a player can say I'm going to cast this spell, but they may not actually go through with it, or it may require the roll of dice or something along those lines. So that's kind of what's going on there.
Is this one of those situations where it takes a certain amount of concentration to succeed, and therefore it's a chance that you might get interrupted partway through?
Yes, that's actually totally a possibility there. That that could happen, but it also could be in the moment of the game where the player says, "I want to cast Druidcraft," and so we hit the Druidcraft action, but there's still a second button to confirm it. So we're just talking to the player now. The DM is maybe asking, the dungeon master is asking the player, so you want to do it on cast it on what? And so the player might say, here's what I want to do. And the dungeon master says, okay, you cast it. And then they hit the button to confirm it.
Sure.
And then, so that's kind of what the consider casting is, the state between the moment the player says, here's what I want to do, and the moment I actually start casting it. And then actually we get to what you were saying, Roy, where concentration can be broken while I'm trying to do it. So now I need to take all of this and put this in one method right here. So if we are a spell, then I want to say, update spell page UI. What is this? I don't know if I just want to call it handle spell, about to cast spell. Yeah, maybe about to cast spell. That's what I'm going to call this. So let's extract this. About to cast spell. Okay. Action, shortcut, player, and spell. You know what? I don't think this out parameter is holding its weight. It's simply a reference on this, and I don't think this local is, the out parameter is used as local here, is holding its weight.
No, I don't think so either.
So let's do this. About to cast spell. I want to change this to this. And I want to change this to this. And then I want to go into about to cast spell, and I want to get rid of this. And look where I find this and change it to that. And do the same thing. Yep. Or maybe instead, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's put the spell variable here. Spell is equal to that. Then we're gonna say if spell is null, then we're gonna get out. Then we're going to call this spell 2 or something like that. It's not used anymore. We're going to say hit the code rush key there, and then we're going to choose remove unused parameter. Right there.
Nice.
Okay. And so about to cast spell, it looks like that. Passing in the action shortcut. We've still got a protected piece right here, just in case it's called from another place. But we are, checking it here. Now, where else are we doing this? Working with spell. It's just here, 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 and here. We don't need any more. Let's kill it. Let's kill it. And let's kill it. And I think that's gotten rid of it.
What were we doing outside of new methods? Were we interrogating the outspell at all?
Yep. But that's okay. Because now I can just come in here and say... action shortcut.spell, but set controls from shortcut. This spell here is doing the same thing. It's action shortcut.spell. So we are going to just come in here and do this. Get the property. That's not used anymore. Hit the code rush key. Choose remove unused parameter spell. Set controls from shortcut. Cool.
Code is getting neater every passing minute.
Yeah, it's not bad. Let's see. Let's jump back to where we were. New method. So new method. Spell. Is it used anywhere else in here? It doesn't look like it is. Okay, yeah. Better, better, better. Still don't have a great name for this yet. We're kind of working our way through this. A name's starting to come to me, though, which is...
kind of process player action, isn't it?
Yeah. I think
something.
I was going to call it activate shortcut for player, because we're passing in the player as well to it. It's kind of where I was playing with it. That's the name I'm thinking about. We'll keep going through here and see what else we got to do. So if the spell is not null, then about to cast spell. It's fair to say we actually could just call this without the check, but I think the code is easier to read if we add that check there. Now what's going down here? So this is a normal, it's some other thing. Here's an attack. This, creature raising weapon. Now this is similar to player taking action, right? creature raising weapon, to go to the game and look at creature raising weapon, we assign the active weapon to this, whatever the shortcut name is. That's all we're doing in there. Hold on. Jump in, hit escape. Okay. So, creature raising weapon. This is similar, and I contend could skip in terms of what. Actually, it's going to happen if it's a spell. We would never see it. Oh, I see. If it's a spell, so we would have to do this to make this work the same way. And take this. If I want to take these three lines of code and put them inside player taking action, I need to do this. If that's equal to null, if the spell is equal to null, and the rest is true, then we're going to call game.creature. Let's do it. Let's put it in here because these are all similar low-level game kinds of things that we're doing.
Do we only have shortcuts for spells and not spells, or is there a variety of not spells?
Yeah, we have shortcuts for every kind of action that you can do. So
Okay.
You've got spells, you've got attacks, you've got features like rage, where I want to activate my rage, right? Or features like rebuke the violence, where somebody's gone in and attacked one of my teammates, and I can invoke rebuke the violence, which makes that creature take half that damage that they just gave to my player on my team. So there's lots of things that I can do, right? Which is hence the creature taking action, the will attack. What's interesting is attack shortcut. There's some opportunities for, we can do this. Notice we've got this here, and we have the same check here.
Yep.
We could kill this check here and put this as a child here. In Code, I can select that, hit the letter B. That gives me a nice block around it. And now I can do this. Okay. So if it's not a spell, if the spell is, there's no spell, and the weapon properties are something other than none, then creature raising weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In fact, I almost, even though this is not the way it was originally written, I almost want to change the order because theoretically you raise the weapon before you do will attack. What's happening in will attack? Creature taking action, we call. Creature will attack. Do I have... Wow. I'm calling this maybe twice. Creature raising weapon. Will attack. If the game's not null, creature taking action, not that one. It was creature will attack is where there's the... Is that right or not? Creature will attack. Player will attack. Hold on, let me drill into this one. And is there a... So there's two different... Oh, there's a will attack and a creature will attack, I think. I'm sorry, I thought I was thinking the same thing twice here. Let's double check this. The question is, am I going to call game.creature raising weapon if I go into will attack? That's what my question is here. Will attack. Creature raising weapon. Maybe it's better to go into creature raising weapon and see where that's called from. No, it's only called from this space. Okay, so I'm going to say we don't. Why not cast unconfirmed spell?
I think that was a method name suggestion.
Maybe.
A little while back.
Hey all, Deepwater's here. Hope everyone's doing well. Welcome, Deepwater. I don't know if you're just showing up, Deepwater, working on a fanfare for you. Working on it. I think it's going to be not bad. I'm now raised my my minimum standards as for things I do to not bad.
Fair enough.
All right. Okay.
So did we conclude whether will attack was the same as creature will attack?
Yeah, I feel like I did conclude that. The question was, where is creature raising weapon called? And it's only called from one spot. I'm tabbing the next reference here. I'm using coders to tab. So the will attack is doing other things, is what I've declared and decided right here. Creature taking action is whatever there. Yeah, it's not doing the same code, so we're okay. We don't. There's no other further there's no further simplification that can take place.
Okay.
that's kind of where I'm at here. So player taking action is here. About to cast spell. Okay, now we've got some wild magic stuff here. If it is not wild magic, then we're going to go back to the main page. Because we're not on a main, so basically what's saying here is switch to main. I think there's two things we can do. Let's do this. Let's extract a method just for that line of code. Call it switch to main page in game, I think is what we'll call it. And then here we want to say, check to see if it's a wild magic roll. Is wild magic roll, and that's what I want to call it. So what I want to do is in here, I want to change this to greater than or equal to, and then I want to come back and inverse the question, do the not on it right there. So if it's not is wild magic roll, then switch to main page in game. Send shortcut windups. And now what I think I want to do here is now call this about to take action, but it's a non-magic action, a physical action. I think we'll call it that. So now we've got way better symmetry here, right?
Oh yeah.
So we can remove the block delimiters there, and we can also remove the block delimiters here as well. And call player.useAction shortcut. Existing modifier. I'm going to delete this comment. And now here we're modifying UI. So we're going to say extract method, set modifier UI. Okay, and then we return true. So we're returning.
Now we've got the whole method on one screen.
It's not bad. I'm going to do one other thing. We're returning true or false. I'm going to create a new enum here. That's going to be. I'm going to call this the action type. Hopefully, I don't have any other action types. And we're going to say that it's a modifier, or it is a new action. Modifies existing or creates new, maybe. I don't know. Oops, I wanted to hit a semicolon there to end it, the piece there. Maybe modifies existing is what I'll call this. Right there. Live coding's with us. Deep Worcestershire. Deep Worcestershire. Worcestershire.
I'd be hazarding.
Is WTR the abbreviation for Worcestershire?
Could be.
All right.
Wouldn't necessarily be betting my life on that one.
File could not be refactored. One or more errors occurred. Do you wish to continue with refactoring? I don't like this
Things went
dialogue.
wrong. Would you like me to keep going?
Yeah, I don't like this dialogue at all. I'm gonna go paste this in, and I'm gonna talk to somebody about that. Also, let's report a code errors issue, because we've got logs associated with this time. We might be able to find. I think this is a Visual Studio issue. VS issue. I tried to rename. An enum element, and saw this dialogue like that. All right, so cool thing about that is we might find some information in there. This might be a Visual Studio issue. I think it is. It looks like it is. Look at this.
Yeah, it's a highly identifiable file.
Yeah, I'm going to send this over to our friends in the Visual Studio team. There might be something here. It might be an edge case bug that we can help them fix and find. Okay, I'm going to say no. Don't continue with refactoring. Yep, I definitely agree. Dustin, if you're looking at this, you guys could throw a period at the end of the sentence right there. And click OK. I'm going to just change it to modify as existing. What I'm going to do I want to check in this code right now? It might be important. I'm just going to do a save. So in case anybody's looking at this, I'm going to check this code in right now. In case there is somebody wants to try to reproduce this, we're going to check all that in. This is the main place where we've been making changes today during the show. I don't know. I'll say halfway through refactoring. Like this, stage all, commit. We're going to add a tag to this. How you doing on time, Roy?
As it happens, I kind of have run out.
All right, buddy.
That'd be it for the day.
Are you telling me the Rona finally caught up with you? Is that?
I think
is this
the need to be
metaphor?
with my family maybe caught up with me. Whether you choose to call that Corona or not.
Wow.
Hey.
All right. Do me one favor here. We're going to call this.
Sure.
What are we calling this? This is the refactoring bug in
Renaming an enum element.
renaming enum element like that. I'm going to copy that to the clipboard. I'm pushing this right now.
Okay.
And what I want to do is I'm going to send this over to you in our chat. And I'm also going to, whoops, that's not what I want to do. There's my chat button. There it is. So I'm sending that name to you. I'm going to also bring up the, GitHub on this. Find that tag, copy that link address, give it to you as well. And when that email comes in from that bug, if you can just throw those in there as well, so the devs can get that code if they need to try to duplicate that, that'll be awesome. Okay. All right, buddy, thanks so much. I'm glad you're feeling
No problem,
better.
my friend. Indeed.
All right.
We'll catch you on Tuesday.
Catch you on Tuesday. We'll
Okay,
be back
then.
tomorrow,
See
but Rory's going to come back on Tuesday. See you on Tuesday, Rory. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, so my action type is right there. Modifies existing or creates new, and I want this to be what we return from new method. That's what I want. So here I want to say return modifies existing, and down here I want to say creates new. Better. Okay, so now we've got this thing much more compact and easier. I think I would contend easier to read. We might even be able to refactor it even further. Like here. This, we can certainly take this out right here. Let's say reset wild magic checks. Like that. And I'm going to use a CodeRush feature here called flatten conditional, just to invert that. And there it is. So if the shortcut type is not equal to wild magic, then we're out of there. But if we're going to do a wild magic roll, then we're going to reset the number of wild magic checks for that player. Cool. All right. Okay, so this method, we need a name for this method, and I think it's going to be activate shortcut for player. And now in the call to this, we want to say, hey, if activate shortcut for player is equal to action type dot modifies existing, then we're going to return. Is what we're going to do. And now we have this middle kind of part here where we're going through here, and this is an instant dice right here. This piece right here checks to see for instant dice. So let's go ahead and extract that as well. Roll instant dice. I want to take this and change this to action shortcut dot has instant dice. Just declare that. Okay. You'll do the flatten conditional here too, as well. And I almost, to make this code easier to read, want to add 2 checks here. From a performance standpoint, I'm not that worried about it, but I kind of like the code looking like this. Hey, if action shortcut has instant dice, then roll instant dice. In other words, making this code here easier to read, even though we're essentially asking the question twice. But the cool thing about asking the question twice here is it allows this to be called from another location, and we don't throw exceptions in here. Don't set things equal to null, that sort of thing, whatever, you know, start trying to roll the dice with nothing in it. So it kind of makes the code both robust and easier to read, I think. The other way of doing that is I could change roll instance dice, and the other thing I like to do sometimes is rename a method to if necessary. Throw that at the end. And I kind of like this better. I think we'll do this. This is set vantage for active player. We're passing in the vantage mod. Set vantage for player. Vantage mod, switch. Normal. So this is, we'll rename this set player vantage UI because it's strictly modifying our existing UI. Interesting. Active player ID for active player. All right, so we need to rename this as well. This becomes set active player vantage UI. But I think this is wrong, because this checks to see if the vantage mod is not normal, then we're going to go change it. But the only thing we ultimately end up doing, right, is we end up coming in here and we just set some checkboxes. We make normal, advantage, or disadvantage is true in here. So I think we don't need this line of code. Take that out right there. So what's cool about my activate shortcut old, and by the way, I have the activate shortcut new here that I was kind of saying, here's where I wanted to go to. This is what I kind of wanted it to look like, where it was basically we get the player, we check to see if it modifies an existing role, and if it does, we modify that role. Otherwise, we call get from. That's kind of what we're looking at there. And we're kind of getting closer. But the thing that's happening here, though, that I think is really important to understand, is that all of this code here is essentially setting, most of it, it's working with the game, but also setting the UI up. It's changing the UI. It's not actually creating this low-level dice roll, and it's not modifying the existing die roll. So that's kind of the change, the direction and the changes that I kind of want to take in here. This is all setting the UI. Let's build. And actually, let's do this. Let's keep this the old name, so that's still going, because that's what we just refactored. Let's call this new, right here, and let's rebuild. Nope, didn't finish. This is in new. Okay, I'm going to throw in just a return null there. I'm going to take our existing standalone app right here, and I'm going to shut it down. All right, good. 6 succeeded. We got everything building. Let's run it. See if things still look like they're working.
Cornelia!
Initialize player data. All right, player data has been initialized. Let's pull out Thomasina's dagger. That seems to be working. Let's roll the attack. 1d4 plus piercing. Nice.
Max damage!
Yeah, I don't know why you're shouting so loud, Mr. Announcer Guy there. Didn't know Rob Halford was in Dakota. Davina's 49. Yeah, so it looks like it's kind of working, is what it looks like it's kind of working. It's got a shape water spell. Seems like everything's working. Cast the spell. There's the special effect that just happened here. Yeah, it looks like it's working. Let's pull out Murray's Great Axe. There it is right there. Let's roll the attack. It feels like all our refactoring feels like it was relatively successful. Feels. All right, but again, we have no test cases around this. That's kind of where we want to go with this. So the dice. Okay. Hide the scroll. Close it down. Okay, so we want to go in a different direction. Right? We want to go in a different direction where we get the dice roll from the player action shortcut instead of getting it from the UI. So we want essentially the dice roll to be like the data source in some way, thinking about it in that way for as far as the UI is considered. So that means in our finally, we want to say what do we call update state for UI for player? We want to also be calling update role UI for the current role. Like that. That's what we want to add here. All right, so we're going to switch this around a little bit, I think. So we've got this code that works well. And we need to, the other thing I think we might want to do with this, though, is look for things that modify. Okay, this is going to say UI in it. Hide player shortcut highlights UI. We're going to do this as well. Add UI here. So anything that has to do with UI, we're going to clearly mark it as UI. Set controls from shortcut. Yep. Although here I think I'm going to say set control UI from shortcut. And we're going to change this to set control UI from the role, I think is what we're going to do. So we've got UI, 2 UI calls here. Next role type is equal to that. The action shortcut type, die role type. Where's next role type used? Holy cow. In our setter for next role type, we changed some UI. That's a UI. That's a property setter with a side effect that changes the UI. And I think I want to make a behavioral change here. So I'm pretty sure that if the next die roll type is none, the button isn't disabled. Actually, I'm not going to change it. I'm not going to change it yet. Okay. Roll instant dice if necessary. So this is the only thing. Yeah, this prepare roll call from the die roll type. It starts and initializes. Wow. Holy cow, is that a long method? All right, so one of the questions on my mind right now. Okay, here we go. Slight problem. Yeah. Prepare roll from just the die roll type. We're grabbing from the UI elements here. So this we're going from UI elements to the dice roll, which I guess kind of does make sense because I wouldn't be able to change those UI elements and get my dice roll from that. But I can't test if I do that. I cannot test. I cannot create test cases if I keep this existing architecture. So I need to kind of think about how I'm going to change that. All right. I think what I want, so here's the thing. I'm a little bit overwhelmed and I'm a little bit unsure about what to do next. I think the best thing to do is to go down into dice roll and take a look at these empty methods that I have right here and at least start filling them out as best I can. So let's kind of start there and we're just going to do our best is what we're going to do here. Hold on, let's turn on CodeRush's IntelliRush here because it gives us a much bigger window to look in. Muted. Thanks so much. Thanks, Jetsam. So prepare a roll, passing a different kind of roll into it. All right, so I think we need an alternative version of, I feel like we need to pass that in our dice roll piece. I almost feel like got a none here. Okay. I do want to find out, prepare roll. Are we ever calling prepare roll from the action shortcut, passing that in? The next die roll type is one here, double marker here. We might come back. What else we got? Everything else is just we're really specifying the role here. Where's the type here? Damage only. That's for the action shortcut. That feels questionable, that line of code there. Yeah, it looks like, yeah, so we've gone full circle here. I'm feeling the dice roll type. This needs to be wrapped up into action shortcut. Is what I'm feeling. So this, I'm going to put a big fat to do here. Roll, put dice roll type as a property on action shortcut. Absolutely, that's what I want to do. Okay. So crit fail message. I'm going to take all of this and I'm going to say dice roll dot add crit fail messages. And this, by the way, we need to make this data driven instead of putting in the code. We'll make a note about that as well. And we're going to pass in the type of the roll here. Let's drill in here, declare that. Place that with that. Okay. Throw a to-do here. Make this data driven. So that text is stored somewhere else and we can change it easily. So we'll say crit fail message is equal to, or I'm sorry, we'll just say add crit fail messages of the dice roll type. Like that. Okay, working our way down. Crit success message, that's also solved here as well. Damage dice is the next one. It could become the instant dice. So one of the ways is it goes like that. It looks like this. If action shortcut dot has instant dice, then damage dice is equal to that. Otherwise, whoops, not you. I wanted L for else. Damage dice is equal to, let's keep tabbing the next reference to go through there. Additional dice at roll, that's okay. That line of code is okay there. We can change it there. This is in the constructor for dice roll. Holy cow, are we really not setting damage dice in a great way here? Here. I think this may be how we're doing it. Gamer player requests roll. Dice roll string. Player roll dice request. Dice we are rolling. Roll dice now. Coming from the function. Is that the only place? Okay, that's coming from the function. That's different. That's from an individual request to roll a particular die. Just jumping back all the way. Okay, I'm a little bit worried about this. It just doesn't feel right to me. Well, actually, maybe it is right. Because instant dice are what set the damage dice. Because you've got the normal dice string, which includes your damage dice in it. But if you're going to roll only damage, it's instant damage dice. In other words, we hit the button and we immediately roll. At least that was the thought process when we started it out. Maybe it is okay. All right, we're going to keep going. Right, strategy is just keep pushing through as quickly as we can. Damage type. So tab to next reference. How are we picking damage type? Well, here we do a call based on the damage. 2 damage string, but that's coming from a combo box of damage types. Interesting. I think this is equal to a big fat damage type dot none is what I think it is. The damage type is, this is kind of an overriding optional piece. If my damage dice or my regular dice I'm rolling don't specify their damage. All right. The way they specify it is with something like this, where it's like, I want to say like I want to throw out like 2d6, and then I might say fire, like that. So if they don't specify this, I have an optional way to specify it. But maybe the comment here should be probably should be deprecated. Like that. All right, keep going. Damage type. Effect brightness. What's going on here? Die roll effect. That's if we're going to add an effect to it. That's set here locally. I don't need to worry about it. It's only there. So it's only if I'm calling add die roll effect, which I can go from add die roll effects apparently. And that's all happening in roll the dice. That happens later on roll the dice, so I don't need to worry about any of that. So effect brightness, I'm going to say no to. Hue shift rotation, effect saturation scale, I'm going to say no to all of those because they're all effectively the same. Pretty sure. Yep, they're all messed with there. So not going to worry about effects. That's awesome. Fail message, that's already set down here. We can skip that. Group inspiration for the roll. That's grabbing from the text box. Not coming from the action shortcut. Yeah, it's coming from prepare roll. I almost argue this should happen just before I roll the dice. In other words, when we were looking, let me delete that from there. When we were looking back here at effect saturation, for example, add die roll effect coming from add die roll effects. That's called from a method called roll the dice. So what I'm suggesting here is that we say die roll.group inspiration is equal to whatever is set at the last minute as the group inspiration. Okay, that's what I'm suggesting. Put that in there. What is that? Keto donut? Bacon? Oh yeah, you can have some. Of course. We got a fridge here in the office. What? Yeah, you can have the rest. Okay, so I think that goes there. So moving on. Hidden threshold. The hidden threshold is not set. This is only set by the text, I think. Hey, babe. Look at this. Can you come in here so people can see this?
Today is sanitized day. I love me some essential oils, but
Just in the event that
everything's getting bleached.
in the event that coronavirus is sentient and can understand, English,
You want me to?
don't reveal that today is sanitation day. It's only going to be like, oh no, Jesus, not the keyboard.
Just did your keyboard.
You let me lock it or something.
Oh, you're welcome.
No, this is the worst thing that's ever happened. Oh my God, no, please. That smells incredibly like bleach. Holy cow.
What you have on your desk?
Let's undo. What is
where's
this?
your camera?
Yeah, there it is right there. No, it doesn't autofocus. It's got a shallow depth of field.
I love how you're like, no, as if people seeing something out of focus will be an emergency.
It is.
No, I'm getting you. I'm touching
It's
you.
just bleaching my arm. All right. Okay, stop it. Oh my God, the keyboard is wet. I have autism. I don't like things that are different sensory inputs.
Oh no.
You put bleach in my keyboard, honey. All right.
You're welcome.
All right. In fairness, I did sense that Corona was hiding down there under the keyboard. Okay.
Corona in your board.
Okay. We're working our way down here. So here we go. Hidden threshold is only coming from up above. This one is weird, by the way. Death saving. Oh, no, wait. Death saving throw, we know it. That's not weird. That's good. Death saving throw is always, that's the threshold there. Where's the assignment? Where are we here? Prepare roll again. Oh, yeah. Death saving throw. Initiative, non-combat initiative. So there's no, we just make it totally impossible. These are all good. Although, I want to change all of this to dice roll. I do like how this is cleaning up the code. Set hidden threshold from text, I think. And we're going to pass in this. I'll change that to that. Paste that there. Grab this whole piece like that. And now declare that. Shoot, missed a parameter. Yeah, I really think I need to throw dice roll type into here. Is what I think I really need to do. Notice this giant comment up the top here. All changes here should be reflected in get right dice roll data inside dice layer. So I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to throw a dice roll type property in here. So I'll type in A in the slash, call it dice roll type. This did not exist here before. Captain X reference proves that. It shows that it's, oh no, wait, hold on. Captain X reference proves it actually is in here. It's in here as type. Okay. That's super interesting. It's right there. That's the assignment right there. Boom, and prepare a roll. I'm going to move that up. Right there. Okay, with that in there and with that set, now when we create a new dice roll, in fact, what do we have for constructors here? All right. I was thinking I could require it in the constructor. And I feel like I'm going to do it. So instead of relying on it here, this is going to, I think, lead to a more safety in refactoring here. So let's do that. Let's pass it in here. Dice roll type. Got wild magic. Get rid of this line of code right here. Oops, I hit Control Shift N, I think. That's not what I wanted to do. Jump in here, dice roll type, dice roll type. This is going to be a required parameter. Got a lot of motion in here. She is cleaning the fan, bleaching the fan at this moment in time on the floor. Okay. So then we're going to say type is equal to dice roll type. Force it. So that we need to pass in dice roll type, because that's passed in right there. That's good. Is it Xamarin? No. Exxon NTTDB. It is not Xamarin. We are in WPF right now. Let's continue to do this. Dice roll type here. Where are we? It's passed in as type. Throw that there. Is that it? That looks like it's it. That looks like all of the constructors. Okay, good. Let's get back out over into dice roll. Not there. Wait, go back. Oh yeah, this is the get from that we've been working on. Okay. So I was looking at hidden threshold. Oh. And here. Add crit fail messages. This line of code can go away, because we're setting it here. Now we're going to come in here and change all of these. Rocketfire 123 following. Thanks for that follow, Rocketfire. So let's set this over here, here, and there. And now we're setting the hidden threshold correctly. Now, set hidden threshold from text. And we're passing in, just before we roll the dice, whatever that hidden threshold is. And that's what the Dungeon Master is able to say. Here's the minimum roll that we're going to do. We're going to put in here. Okay. And I deleted that line from here because I wanted add crit fail messages to only do those things, and set hidden threshold from text to only do those things. So that part is good. Good, good, good. I think I'm going to rename this to this and give this a default of 10. So in these cases, we override clearly, and in this case, we don't. If we don't override, then we're going to do the hard-coded one right there. Okay? All right, so cool. We've got set hidden threshold now. So now that means I don't need to worry about it here because set hidden threshold happens just before the roll. which is important because we might say, I want to hit him with my battle axe, and the battle axe comes up. And then between the time I say I want to hit him with the battle axe and the time we roll the dice, the dungeon master might come in and say, here's your new hidden threshold. So it's when we actually roll the dice, then we want to take the rest of the pieces in with it, is what we want to do. Okay, cool. Working our way through this. Yeah. The power of just going forward. Okay, is magic. Let's go see where that's set. Well, we're grabbing from whether our CB, our checkbox out there is checked. Let's see, or type is equal to wild magic check. Okay, how is this one set? It's cleared there. There it is on the form. Its action shortcut uses magic. Okay, so jump back. So basically the code we're looking for is it uses magic or it's that. That's what we're looking for. So come back over here. Is magic is equal to the action shortcut uses magic or the type of the roll is a wild magic D20 check. Like that. No? Is it the wrong type? Object reference, oh, dice roll.type. Like that. Or I could just, I guess, be consistent with the rest of the code and use this instead. Okay, so there's his magic. Got it. Good. Next one. Is one player. I'm not sure how we can tell that. Oh, that's already read-only. It's in here. Cool. So we don't need to worry about it. Min crit. Okay. So it's going to default to 20. I don't think we're going to change that. Let's see how we change that anywhere. Are we changing that anywhere? We're not. Okay. So we're not changing that yet. So we don't need to worry about min crit. Min damage. Same thing, I bet. Hold on. Min damage is coming from this text here. And does the action shortcut modify it? Look at that. It does. So that min damage we can set. So min damage, which I think is a number, it's an int, is equal to action shortcut.min damage. I think that's a direct copy across there. Modifier. This one might be tricky because this is used a lot. This is on prepare roll. If there's text out there, we'll take it. Modifier here has to do with the wild magic text. Very specific kind of roll here. The D20 wild magic check. So I'm going to keep that code there. Modifier is okay. Roll wild magic. Okay. Yeah, I don't think we're grabbing modifier from anything except for maybe, well, this. Let's go look at that. 2-hit modifier. All right, let's go. We'll set that. We'll assign that right there. So modifier, which I think is a number, it's a double, equals action shortcut dot 2-hit modifier, which is an int. Okay. All right, I'll keep it for now. After modifier, num halos. This has to do with special effects. This is in die roll effects. We similarly don't need to worry about it. On first contact sound effect. Same issue there. On first contact sound, I think we can safely skip. Let's, well, just quickly double check. Yep, looks like we can skip that. On roll sound, I bet the same thing. Wow, on roll sound is not assigned anywhere. Interesting. On stop rolling sound. Yep. On throw sound. Yep, same thing. Player role options. Add player. Who's calling add player? It's in prepare roll. So at the last minute, we're adding players to it. So we don't need to worry about that. The dice roll that we send out of here is going to have no players on it. Roll scope. Same thing on that prepare roll call. It's assigned and that's it. Saving throw. Saving throw is coming from the checkbox. I want this actually, all of this code, I want to go into the constructor of new dice roll. I wanted you to kind of initialize those pieces right here. Looks like we got some stuff already here. We have those. Yeah, I almost think I'm killing those. Let me get rid of these lines of code right here. We'll initialize those as strings, skill check, saving throw, spell name. We've essentially done those three things there for the die roll. Okay. So we don't need to initialize saving throw. Second roll title, what is that? Okay. Is that the only place it's assigned? All right, so we'll do that. Skill check. Pretty sure it's the same as our saving throw. Yeah, it's essentially the same as our saving throw. We're already initializing it to none. So we don't need that. Spell name. That might come from... Yeah, so it's action shortcut spell is passed over into this local. Action shortcut.spell.name. Okay, so spell name. If that action shortcut spell is not null, then we will say spell name is equal to that dot name. Okay, there's our spell name. What's next? Success message. We've already got that taken care of. Throw power. Yeah, this is randomly assigned on the throw, prepare roll. So we figure out how much force is going to be used on that die roll when we roll that out. Trailing effects, pretty sure there. Same kind of deal. It's all just set up by other things. That doesn't come from the shortcut, I think. Let's double check one more time. Yeah, it looks like it's actually, oh, here we go. Add trailing effect, add trailing effects. And this is from player trailing effects is rolled. This can happen from other actions and things that happen with the shortcut itself. The shortcut might have commands or features associated with it. Those will set properties in the player, and then just before the roll, we add those trailing effects. So nothing is happening there. Type we've already set up there in the constructor. Vantage kind is the last one. Holy cow. Kind of potentially in the constructor. It's set. Yeah. I'm not seeing any other... In Captain Nick's reference here, I'm not seeing any other time where we're using that. Okay, so it looks like we are done with this, and then we're going to return our dice roll. Yeah, I'm going to say it's okay. So let me say. Damage side should be deprecated as almost never used. Maybe only used or only used. Should be deprecated because we do use it as consider deprecating. Let's do that. Okay, are we close enough to be able to add a test case yet is my question. We've got to get from, and we've got a player action shortcut, and we've got a modify call. So modify is not doing anything here yet on this. Certainly does broken user level 100. It's going to soon gain godlike powers. Let's see if we can get a test case out here. So we made changes to die roll, which is down inside of D&D core, right here, that project. All our low-level D&D classes. So I'm assuming it's in dice. Yeah, there it is right there. Okay. It does say any changes here should be reflected in get dice roll data inside our TypeScript file, but we haven't made any changes to properties. What I should say here, any property changes here. Because those are going to be anything streamable through JSON. But we haven't added any new properties or removed any existing properties. So we don't need to make any changes down there. Now I want to create a new dice roll test. I have an existing on some dice tests. Dice roll detail tests. What's a dice roll detail? Oh, these are a list of actual die pieces, I think. Count, descriptor, offset, number of sides on the die. I think that's what all of this is. So that's what's going on here. This is just a way of describing, of converting from text, such as 1d4, like this. Hold on. It's essentially for going for 1d4 of fire. Converts a text representation of dice to an object. And actually, it's not here. But it's in dice roll details. Okay? Cool. Okay, so dice roll detail tests are here. We want some dice roll tests. So I'm going to create a new class up here. I've got CodeRush installed, so if I'm in a test file that's got a reference to unit testing, I just type in the letter T right here, spacebar, it builds the whole test class for me, regardless of what my framework is. So it builds an appropriate test class for the test framework I'm using. Really nice way to create test cases with CodeRush inside Visual Studio. So now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to call these my dice roll tests. And I don't know. I want to say test 1. Dude, really? You're blocking all my awesome code? I'm going to come up here, hit the code rush key. I'm going to pop this move type to file right there. So it's in its own file. And I'm going to say, I need to get an action shortcut. Do I have like an action shortcuts? I need to use D&D Core here. All action shortcuts. Dot. Get. Now I need a player ID and a particular shortcut to get. Do I have in here? I think I might have a player ID. All players. Dot. I thought I had a player ID thing in here. No. So I want to, I need to create, I guess I can create an action shortcut or I can get an existing one. I was going to try and get an existing one. Is what I was going to try to do. All right, let's do this. What are my choices here? What's happening here? I'm hitting, okay. Chaos bolt. Like that. All right, I kind of want to just get a breakpoint there. Kind of what I think I want to do. I want to debug this test right here. I just want to see if I can get that list of shortcuts and that's still working. Because I've got some old data here and I have not run this in a while. Oops, I said I chose to run the test, but I want to... I want to cancel it. I want to debug it is what I want to do. Okay, what do we get? Are we going to get anything back here? Count is 0. Let's come back up in here and step into this and see why that count is 0. Did we just end it? I guess we ended it somehow. I thought I was stepping into it. Okay, let's try one more time. All right. I have no players. Why don't I have any players? Load data is failing for players. It seems. Okay, trying to load the data. Let's jump in here. Okay, got 10 results coming back, 10 players. Now we've got players being added. Let's get out of here. Return the players. So now we've got 10 in here. Now get this. And down here, what do we get? Okay, we are going to come back with a player ID that's valid. Interesting. So it's weird that it seemed like I had to invalidate it before the call. So all players dot invalidate seems to need to go there. Okay. And then all action shortcuts, we're now trying to find chaos bolt in there. What do we get back? Still nothing. Let's look at the get in there again. I don't know if I can set a breakpoint like right there. But let's try debugging it one more time. Coming right into this spot here. I don't trust the load data is going to work this time. The player ID is 22. Shortcut's null right now, but it's about to load data and return it, right? 7 shortcuts. Hungry Jaws. Wait, Hungry Jaws. Okay. This is the wrong character. So our player IDs have changed, I think, is what's going on. That's the problem. Okay, I need to consolidate that. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the show. We're kind of halfway through this. We'll pick up the rest of this tomorrow and kind of pick up where we left off, and we'll keep going forward on this. But we definitely are, it feels like we're definitely making progress for as far as the hard work that needs to be done. Let's go out there and see who else is out there streaming right now, and we will send you over to them. Thanks for joining me today. I appreciate that. Great work, all of you. If you know Retro CRT, let him know that he's got a new fanfare over here, and all he has to do is show up and say hi, and he'll see it. Who's out there that we can rate? Zizo says, great job, Mark. Hey, thank you so much. Thanks for hanging out. We're going to send you over, I think, to InstaFluff. We'll start the raid. Here we go. Say hi to InstaFluff. InstaFluff's always a great time. Have a great day. Stay safe to everyone. Jetsam says that, and I'm sure he's saying that to everyone as well. I'm going to say that to you as well, folks. Have a safe day. Stay safe. Wash up. Tell InstaFluff I said use bleach. Are you coming in for that? I'm saying goodbye.
No, I don't have my
She's just gonna come in and say, okay, you just want to say goodbye?
Oh, how's this bleach?
Okay, just bring your head up just a little bit. Say, tell InstaFluff we said hi.
Hi, InstaFluff.
Well, he's not hearing us yet, but everybody's gonna go see him. Here we go.
Well, tell InstaFluff that I said
Alright.
hi. His stream is so cute.
Isn't it cute?
It's like little puppy cute.
He's so cute.
It's so cute.
Such a
Who's
cutie little
InstaFluff?
stream.
Who's InstaFluff?
Who's the InstaFluff? Here you go, kids. See ya tomorrow.